All right, they should be able to see us and hear us. So, hello, Adventures Lollygagging and friends. We're back playing Vaesen tonight. We'll go through the plugs and introductions in a minute. If you haven't watched us before, we're starting a brand new mystery tonight. So things are a little bit episodic. So you can watch mysteries independently of one another, but we also have little storylines that kind of overlap from one to the next. So if you're brand new or if you're catching this on VOD, thanks for watching. But every other week on this channel on Free League Publishing, we're continuing this little Vaesen adventure. So let's just get to it really fast. Let's go through intros, say who you're playing, plug what you got to plug, and explain what's the best way to kill Caius tonight. So we'll start with Dan.
Hey, I'm Dan. I was previously playing Dogmore, now playing Rubitega. We'll see how that works out. I thought Dogmore was the way that Caius was going to die, maybe also like it could be like a 1-2.
Yeah,
but that didn't work out. So maybe Rubitega just accidentally kills him.
Maybe Dogmore comes back to take out Caius. He comes out of retirement to take out Caius because Caius
finished that job.
Yeah, you got to do it. All right.
I didn't want to be saved, said Dogmore.
So do we know what your profession is for Rubitega? Did we talk about that last time?
I don't know if we did. Rubitega is an officer, so he's a little more combat oriented than I think we've had in the party so far.
Nice. Yeah.
But still won't be as good as Caius with a gun.
If I recall correctly, you actually started with 2 guns. Is that correct?
I started with a rifle and a knuckle duster.
Okay.
I actually started with 2 weapons.
Okay, started with 2 weapons. And you made use of that rifle pretty well in our Halloween mystery. So that was really good.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move on over. Bert.
Hey, I'm playing Gunner Arrowwood tonight, the one-eyed now infamous detective who has been hitting the weights and working on his fisticuffs lately.
That's good.
Yeah.
And podcast.
Of Steam, Steal, and Murder can be found at BlueMagic, BLUMAGIK.com. Yes, I'm now almost 7 months late with the next download. Sorry,
Yeah.
but there's a lot there.
Yeah, right on. All right, Chuck.
Oh my gosh. Which one did you want first? Plugs or
Whatever.
character?
I don't care.
My gosh. Yeah.
Whatever you like.
Chuck, Defenders of Cobalt. That's where you can find me. We have a zine out, Dan Dies in the End, and our Halloween 2020. We are just a handful of weeks away from our next zine dropping. And what else? I stream on Free League Publishing every other Saturday, and those opposing Saturdays, Goodman Games Official. I am playing Anders, the professor. I'm good at learning stuff and setting up my grad students for horrible deaths so I can, learn things.
Yeah. That came back to bite you a little bit in the most recent Halloween adventure. So we'll get to that. Yeah,
a little oops there.
Little oops. Okay, and down to Melissa.
I am Melissa. I play Sigrid. She is a priest. She's pretty good at kind of close combat stuff and stealthing and observation, talking to people. She can do a little bit of kind of mental sort of healing, confession type things with people. And with Adventures in Lollygagging, you can find us twitch.tv/the Lollygaggers, where we also play Alien and Mutant Year Zero, Gen Lab Alpha, and some other games.
Yeah, right on. And to the man of the hour, the soon to be horribly murdered in some sort of wonderful fashion, Jeremy and his character Caius.
Yeah, I'll be playing Caius. He's just a good-hearted little writer, little weakling, but he's full of inspiration. He can do some automatic writing to kind of get insights on things. He's kind of a moneybags for the group and surprisingly effective with a gun, it turns out.
Yeah.
And probably the best way to kill him is just to let him continue making bad choices.
He's young too, right? Isn't he like early 20s?
He's still young.
Yeah, I feel like he's going to have a heart condition because he's always anxious and nervous all the time. So I feel like nature's going to take its course pretty quickly anyway. So
that's probably fair.
If not, there's plenty of other things we could do.
I know you were looking up the drowning rules, and I understand.
Drowning rules, poison rules, fire rules, suffocation rules, every sort of rule I can follow that might potentially let me kill you.
I deserve it. I get it.
I agree. And you got a podcast now, sir.
That's true. Plewdcast, Plewd. We're going to be doing a new one for Hawkworld later this week. Should be fun.
Right on. Okay. And last but not least, Joe.
Hi, I'm Joe with the Defenders of Kobold. I am playing Yürgan Leinbaldersön, the Doctor. I think if we're talking of ways that Caius might die, it just has to be an interesting way that he's been killed or hurt, and I might get too carried away figuring out where that came from than actually saving his life.
Okay.
Because I have a tendency to do that.
Yeah. Also
So-
something that kind of bit the group in the ass a little bit with the last.
Yeah,
Okay.
or me in the ass in form of 2 bullets.
Yep. You got pretty hurt last time around. So what were the injuries that you suffered last time?
I suffered a what is it? Where was that? Combat. A foot injury and a spinal injury.
Mm.
So the spinal injury, oddly enough, is a net positive now that I've recovered from it, and I get like a little stealth bonus every so often.
Mhm.
But the foot injury, I have now like a permanent limp that sometimes will hamper my ability to do agility things.
Yeah. So if you're new to Vaesen, so basically Vaesen, when they have their lasting injuries, one of two things can happen. You can either get a defect or you can get an insight. An insight is usually just for the really, really harsh, nearly going to die type injuries that if you manage to survive and get through them and get back home, you could potentially keep that insight permanent, which gives you a great bonus that you can tap into every now and then. Defect is the opposite. Usually the defect's not too terrible, but usually like once a session or so, I can tap into it and give him like a little penalty basically. So if he tries to run away really fast and I have him make an agility test, I can just say, nah, you're gonna take a penalty for that because you got shot in the foot because of stuff. All right, so our Halloween episode ish. I know what you did last Midsummer was the last thing we did was a one shot, and in that one we stayed at Castle Gillenkritz, and the adventure came to you, or the mystery came to you. So if you recall, it began by having a variety of NPCs, friends, and enemies that you've met over the course of our 3+ mysteries now, who started showing up at the castle for unknown reasons. Some of them had invitations, some of them had plans, some of them got notes from you, and in the course of the evening, a fog began to erupt around the grounds of the castle, making it so that all of you couldn't leave, or if you did, you kind of got lost in the fog and managed to get yourself back onto the grounds itself. Plus, somebody was casting some kind of teleport magic, and people were getting thrown to different parts of the mansion. Gunnar got lost within the 3rd floor, which is still under renovation. Met a very friendly and kind of scaredly ghost, and the rest of you were kind of exploring around outside. And lo and behold, turns out that the culprits behind this, or at least one of the main culprits, was Detective Rune Magnuson, who has been hot on the case of Anders for a while now, because Anders
Did nothing wrong.
did absolutely nothing wrong other than hypothetically, possibly, there's no real proof, leading a graduate student to her likely demise. I think we just, someone got switched there. It's all right. I can fix
Joe
that.
broke it.
I think I can fix that. There we go.
J-
Nope.
I don't know what happened.
One more.
My internet's been
Okay.
flaky.
No, we're all good. So between Anders and Yürgan, they both kind of contribute in some way to the death of this woman by the name of Ulla Magnuson. And it turns out that her uncle and fiance, boyfriend, something like that, decided to take revenge on you all. In the process of doing so, a couple of you got shot. And at the very, very end, you all killed them. Like, you all killed the detective on your grounds. You killed this other individual. And the fog lifted. Everything was fine. Anders, as you were coming over to inspect the body of Detective Rune Magnuson, you saw this little bug on the ground. You remember that?
Mhm.
And you
I
squashed
do.
it.
It's quite terrifying.
Yeah. You want to roll a learning test for me really quick?
I would love to roll.
Why don't
a
you go ahead and do
learning
that?
test. Oh, I got the wrong character open. Yep, let's roll a learning test. I got one success.
Okay. You know this to be a spurtus. So it's a little magical being that has the ability to kind of get in, kind of grant the carrier, the owner of the Spiritus, magical powers of some kind. There's a variety of types of magical powers it could provide. In the case of these two, apparently the one that was carrying it, Rune, was casting some spells and such. So it looks like he was tapping into certain magical abilities. The Spiritus has a tendency to kind of screw with a person's mind a bit. It kind of makes them go a little mad.
Yeah.
And yeah. So that's what you get with one success. Now, we'll flash forward a couple days. Is anybody looking to do anything particular before we kind of engage in our next mystery? If this is one of those kind of prologue times, so if there's a specific like character scene or something you want to try to accomplish, we can do that before we tackle the actual mystery itself.
Probably just
Some physical therapy for
familiarizing
my
myself
foot,
with
my
people.
back.
Okay, so I heard physical therapy, and then
Yep.
What'd you say, Dan?
Sorry, just familiarizing myself with, the area a little more.
Okay. You're not from Uppsala, right?
Right.
So, how did Rubitega go about finding his way to Castle Gillengrutz?
I'm gonna assume it was probably on rumor more than anything else.
Okay, just something you heard, something from a friend who heard it from a friend, and suddenly you found your way here. Okay. It is at this point past midsummer, closing in on late summer, and traveling around Uppsala isn't too difficult at all. There's plenty of people on the streets. Some of your new castle mates will likely introduce you to the Horn Pub and various other local delicacies.
Yeah. Especially with someone else taking his name, you heard.
Oh yeah, that could be another rumor. That could be another reason why Rubitega suddenly shows up on the doorstep of the castle itself. Dogmore, you all were worried about Dogmore last time around. Dogmore's fine. Dogmore was just sleeping off a bender somewhere in the middle of an alleyway, and
Stood her up.
stood her up in the process. It's
Mm.
terrible.
Mm.
It's a terrible man. Anybody else have something in mind that they're thinking of doing?
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, you first. I'm sorry.
I had made a promise to the spirit that I found on the third floor.
Yeah.
I'm bringing a token of his to what was her name?
Linnea Ethelclint.
Yeah, Linnea. And then when she's feeling better, to have her visit, which also means that we have to make the third floor more reasonably accessible to someone
Sure.
for advanced age. So I would be working on both of those two things.
Okay. So you head over to the asylum where she has effectively taken up residence. She's not necessarily part of the more rough way in which they're treating mental health patients this time. She's kind of a voluntary entry. She sees things, she hears things, and you meet Nurse Ava Blomberg once more, who's very delighted to see you, and they take you back to see Linnea. She's fairly unresponsive until you give her the little token, and at which point you can see a little smile come onto her face, and she suddenly has like recognition in her eyes, and she asks all sorts of questions about Erling, the man. Like, how is he? She doesn't seem to remember that he's dead, so she's asking questions as though he's still alive.
And I will reply, having just met him and talked to him, as if he is still alive.
Okay. And that seems to make her very happy. And you hear from probably Ava a little bit later that she's had a good week. That seems to have kind of lifted her spirits a bit. And although she's not quite ready to sort of leave, she's having positive days from this little boost.
But I will ask if if she would like to write a letter, or if there is a token that she would like me to return.
Okay. Ava will probably go ahead and say that she'll take the letter for her. She's Linnea's dealing with arthritis, and we'll deliver it at some point. And and they'll keep up some sort of communication there.
Cool.
But it's a good visit. Caius, you had something in mind?
Yeah, I actually will be heading to the same area. I was trying to look through my notes for the name of the lady who was helping Aina out. The lady who would go.
Miriam, I believe, was her name.
Yes. I was trying to sponsor her getting some decent care after the horrible werewolf incident. Just
Right.
figured check on her, see how she's doing. Right back to my wife.
Right. Let me roll a dice or two here. See how she's doing. Let's see. Okay. She's not having as good a time. She's you could when you go to visit her, probably grease the doorman a bit to get behind the various fences and bars that they have set up within the asylum. You can hear the distant sounds of screaming. You've been here before, probably when you first met Linnea, and the wing of the asylum that you're going to isn't the same one that you've met before, that you went to before. And so you can see that there's definitely more kind of more violent outbursts in this area than where you saw that Linnea was hanging out. Now, you do manage to have a small conversation with a specific doctor by the name of Niklas Fred. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it. I don't know what that J is. There's a J in it, F-R-E-J-D. Very small, short man. Great, he's got a kind of great humorous temperament. And he's optimistic about the treatments that he's giving Miriam at this point. But I would say your own eyes, as you look through like a kind of an observation window at her, are probably skeptical of that, because you can see that she is strapped in some kind of straitjacket in the corner of a room, and she's just staring at shadows and kind of flipping out a bit and hiding away. Like, she's got a bed in the room, but she doesn't seem to want to stay in it, and she's kind of using it almost like a defensive posture. But he absolutely insists that everything is fine.
Oh, okay. Is there anything that I can do to be of help, or that I should do?
And he will respond by saying that the asylum is always looking for additional funds and donations, and anything that you can do to help fund the mental health industry within Uppsala will be most appreciated.
Of course.
Okay. Okay.
Will now be guilt-ridden into donating for sure.
All right. So I'm going to say we're going to dock you a capital for the next, when we start up the next one. You have one less capital for the next one. All right. Is anybody else looking to do anything for a little prologue scene?
Sigrid. I wasn't necessarily feeling so great about having to shoot the cop last time, as sort of the means of kind of managing what was going on. So she kind of wants to spend some time doing research on like different Vaesen that can like take control of people and like how to manage that. To try to avoid kind of times of like taking over, like having to kill people.
Okay.
To kind of take care of situations.
Roll a learning test.
Oh, okay.
So you start pouring through the annals of the society.
Isn't really what she does very well.
And sadly, like, there's no specific Vaesen who does it. Like, from what you've gathered, it's the ability to enthrall a person, the ability to sort of take over a person's minds, affect their actions, is a fairly commonplace ability that many Vaesen have, many practitioners of magic have, many items of power possess. So it's probably more ubiquitous than you would imagine out in the world.
And not finding the answer she was looking for that's going to solve that problem, then she will just spend a lot of time in prayer about what continuing this work might mean for her soul.
Okay. Okay. Anders, you so the last thing we did with you is that you were looking at the body of Detective Rune Magnus, and you saw the little bug come out. You squashed it.
Yeah.
You knew what it was. You made mental note. Maybe you go back into the annals of your society, make a little journal entry about your encounter with it. And the rest of the evening and the because it was getting close to dawn by the time that all happened, and then into the day, like, the castle is swarming with cops, obviously. Like, there's
right.
And it's a fairly uncomfortable time. Algot Frisk is definitely being the point man. Hey Dustin, how's it going, man? Algot Frisk is definitely being the point man, trying to show the parts of the castle that won't necessarily upset anybody, won't confuse anybody. Keep them from like the things where it looks like a cult. Like,
That's
now,
good.
fortunately, you all have an ally within the police station. It's Detective Vol Marquant, who is doing his best, though he is quite concerned about the fact that one of his detectives was found dead on the ground. So this is going to put a little bit of strain on that relationship. But no one's immediately arrested, and story is kind of is told.
Good.
Later in the day, however, Anders, as you're taking a nap, you hear a small rustling. Like you feel something on your chest, and you look down. You can see there's this little metallic bug that's just crawling around in your chest. It's the same metallic bug, you think, or something very similar to the one that you crushed earlier than that morning.
Hello there, little friend. Why are you here?
Okay, you don't really get any kind of, doesn't seem to communicate with you. But you feel a little bit of a pain begin to course through your back. And you kind of like, it's just this sudden spasm that you've probably not had before. And you just feel yourself kind of shifting off to the side, kind of contorted in a slight bit of pain. It's not the most painful thing you've ever heard before, but just ever so slightly. It's just, and it won't go away.
I will. Do I have any kind of like mug or glass or anything next to like my bedstand or anything like that?
Makes sense, of course. Yeah.
Sure. I'll grab it and I'll dump the fluid out on the floor and I'll scoop the little bug up in the glass.
Done. Okay.
And set it on the table and put a book over it.
All right. Okay.
Am I still hurting?
Yeah, you do in fact feel it. Roll 1d7 for me.
1d7.
I know that's a weird number, but roll it. Yeah, you gotta do
We're
it.
playing DCC over
or
here?
actually just do a 1d6. Just do a 1d6.
No, too late. I already typed in 1d7.
Okay, good.
How many hurts it hurts?
Okay. So the pain it doesn't really go away all that much, but you've learned to kind of live with it after a bit, and you're very tired. It was a long night. Probably fall back to sleep. The next morning, you receive a kind of a hefty letter, like this big envelope. And inside of it, you see that there's these, it's addressed to you from no one that you know of. And it's just a series of promissory notes. You can go ahead and increase your resource score by 2.
Okay. I don't trust this whatsoever.
What?
Something shady's going on.
And I will also whisper to you in Discord something else that's happening. Keep that a little secret.
Okay. I'm ready for it.
All right.
Chuck is growing a desire to kill Caius secretly.
Okay. So.
Secretly?
What? All right. 1 second, everybody. Talk amongst yourselves while I type this out. I don't know how that's going to work exactly, but there you go. All right.
You're already dead.
So the next 2 or 3 days, up to a week, I kind of spend everyone doing their odds and ends, repairing aspects of the house. Anders, every time you kind of do something that you think that's going to get rid of this bug, it just doesn't. And every day, your pain just kind of gets a little bit more intolerable. You start to have these kind of strange like you go out by the dogs, you say hi to dog more, and the dogs start just growling at you in sort of these odd ways. They just seeming to they just growl and bark at you. A couple of them snap at you, Spinderella, Salt and Pepper. Do you have any family? Does Anders have any family?
Probably estranged family.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be my guess. He's probably, very self-centered and, likes to talk down to people. So it's probably just estranged family.
Yeah.
Probably a couple ex-wives out there, no kids.
You see a news report in the newspaper about this fire at a shop that is run perhaps by parents, uncles, something like that. That it burnt down just within the last 24 hours. Just no one can really explain exactly what happened. Like it's just an unexplainable fire seems to have burnt the house down. And you see the names of like your uncle, your aunt, and you hear about like how this is going to turn them into financial ruin, and there's nothing that they're going to be able to do to recover from this. They're never going to financially recover from this. Is what's going on. And the next day, you get a note from one of those ex-wives, who just wrote you here and has said heard that you've come into some money and really could use some. Mentions how her husband was just laid off, and they thought that he was going to get another job, but sadly that didn't happen. And then her daughter, she got sick, and they can't really afford the bills, and so just sort of begging you for money at this point.
I'll just toss that into the closest fireplace.
Okay, fair enough. Okay.
Reddit fixes all the problems.
So about a week later, all of you have kind of an odd dream one night. You every one of you go to sleep in the castle, your various rooms. It was a good night, nice food, good drink, some music, some storytelling, etc. Everyone's starting to recover. Yürgan's foot's feeling better. Anders still has that pain, but he's got this extra cash. So, one little column A, little column B, right? But you all have this strange dream one night. You see two women in this dark, small room. One of these women is very tall, strong, and is beautiful, long, like wavy blonde hair. This big, colorful face, big, bright blue eyes, lit by candlelight. The other woman is small, meek, thin. You can see it's kind of got almost stringy, black, dark hair. And they both appear in this room. It's hard to make out anything besides basic furnishings. Like this really looks like a crude-looking bed, and maybe a pan in the corner. No dressers, no paintings, no windows, nothing like that you can tell. The only light seems to be focused on specifically the two of them as they're on sort of their knees, hands on their knees as well. And they're kind of speaking towards you. Like they're looking directly at you in the dream, and they're speaking, and it's quiet, and it's not really saying anything. Like they're just it's just kind of quiet sound, but their mouths are moving. And eventually, but like as you watch, you start to hear something, like a little bit of sound begins to come back to you, and a little bit more and a little bit more, as if someone's turning up the volume of a television. And you hear them beseech, and it's like they're repeating the same message. This is a call for all sighted. Please, we need your help. Our lives are in danger. They want to kill us, and all we did is help a poor, broken boy. Please, if anyone gets this message, please come help us. And over this happens. And then morning comes. One by one, you all kind of get up, hit your breakfast, get your coffee, your tea.
It's gonna be like coffee.
And you all feel tired. Like every one of you, not a single one of you feel like you got a good night's sleep. Maybe you're all feeling a little cranky this morning. You all have the exhausted condition, we'll say.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And Algot Frisk comes into the room, and he's carrying like this big old piece of paper, this unfurled piece of paper, and he's got a kind of a grave look on his face. He goes over to Gunnar, and he goes over to Anders, and he says, "Masters, I'm so very sorry. I must have left a candle on in the library overnight. I'm so sorry. I think the map has been ruined." And he just unfurls this map on the dining room table that you're all eating this breakfast at, and you can see that there's this streak of kind of black burnt area right in the map. This is a little bit of a kind of a wavy line, but it's right there.
Is it suggestively narrow, like it's telling us where to go?
Rubatega, you lean and you look down and you can see that the start of the line, the start of the burn, happens right where Uppsala is. And you can see that it seems to start moving in a northwesternly direction. It kind of takes you kind of around a lake and down this kind of valley between these two small little mountain ranges. It's heading into the direction of Jämtland, something like that. It's a kind of a territory to the northwest of you, to where you are at in Uppsala. Not only that, but we'll say Sigrid, when you're coming out of your room, coming down as well, maybe you went back up to change or use the facilities. You look in one of your libraries, your ample libraries, and you see the strangest thing. You have this beautiful globe, right? And it's there. It's a decorative piece. There's all sorts of these other, like astrolabe here, abacus there, these beautiful things that have been found and restored within the castle. And you can see this globe is spinning. And to your knowledge, no one has been in this room since when you woke up.
Hello? Just gonna walk in the room, look around. Then I'll just sort of watch it. Does it seem like it's slowing down? Is it maintaining pace?
No, but you do notice that there is something sticking out of it.
I will slow the spin down so that I can grab it.
And when you slow it down, you need there's a small needle with a little bit of ripped thread coming out of it. And it seems to be piercing a specific section of Sweden.
I'm going to pick up the globe and take it with me downstairs.
Okay.
I'm assuming it's not that heavy that I can.
It's heavy enough you can carry it. It's fine. You bring it downstairs, and when you all look at it, you compare the two things. You notice that where the singed black line on the ruined map ends, and where the pin has been stabbed into the globe, it is in the same spot.
It seems rather suggestive.
So we're all around the breakfast table,
Yes.
having coffee and such. It's like,
Yes.
well, I'll light my pipe and say, well, despite my best efforts of inebriation in laudanum, I had the most outstanding dream. So I'll share so that other people will know that perhaps they didn't have it alone.
Yeah, I'll confirm that I've had it as well.
Yeah. Likewise.
Interesting combination of events.
So it sounds like we're gonna go help these two.
I mean, sure. We're just gonna, we're gonna blindly go running off into unknown country to, meet a couple of strange magic ladies we know nothing about, and everything will be fine.
As long as you bring your gun.
Shoot them because they need help.
No, I don't want to hurt them. I don't want to hurt anybody.
I don't either. I've been struggling with that of late. Maybe we'll do different this time.
Perhaps.
Sigrid will look over to the doctor and say, Are you up for this round? With your limp and your back and everything?
I guess I have to be.
Someone seems to be telling us where we need to go.
Yeah, things have been a little weird here recently. I think it might be good to investigate that. Maybe coincidences and all aren't usually coincidences, and I've been having a little bit of a bug problem, so maybe we should go check it out. See what we can do about it.
So what do you all want to
Like
do?
cockroaches or?
No.
If it's like
No.
a tapeworm or something, I got some stuff to burn that out.
You got. I appreciate
Oh,
that.
you burned
Doctor.
those out? Oh my god!
I just
I do.
thought you went in with some forceps. I don't know which is worse.
I don't know. Modern
Oh.
methods.
One and then the other.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not hungry anymore.
So none of you have had any strange silvery bugs visiting you?
No.
What?
No.
Just
No,
must have been a dream. Don't worry about it. Everything's fine.
clearly not.
Well, I guess we'll have to see if you see bugs after we leave the house. And if you see bugs after we leave the house, then everything is not okay.
That's
Okay. Okay.
I meant that to sound more positive than it sounded. It really didn't come out positive at all.
There's
It's
there's
fair,
no
though.
good way to spin. I'm seeing strange bugs in
No.
a positive light.
No. So where exactly is this needle pointing to?
So yeah, it does. The map itself doesn't have like a specific, like it doesn't have like a specific name of a big city or a town. The closest sort of major like larger city that you can kind of see that it's close to, like it's kind of in the middle of nowhere. Like, you know that there's plenty of villages and small towns out in, out in the highlands and the wilderness there. But in terms of like, there's no railroad tracks that go through it. There's like vague shapes of how, like houses and buildings to suggest there's settlements there, but they're not necessarily clearly named on the maps that you have. But Sigrid, if you want, you could head into town a bit, get the library, get
Sure.
some more updated stuff. And you oh wow, I found a town that Jordan hadn't heard of. This is great. Okay, so you find that there is a very small, there's actually a couple, but there's sort of two villages in that general area. One is Tanis, and then there is a second one that's not, from what you can tell, if you did like you draw out your protractor properly, isn't exactly in the same area, but there's one called Merby as well. But it looks like the Tanis one is the one that's kind of closer to where the needle was pointing.
Okay.
Again, very small town.
All right.
Not going to be a pleasant trip.
Oh, we should probably try to pack accordingly.
Oh boy.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll go hit up my library for a little bit.
Okay.
See if I have any information on these strange people we saw in the dreams. And then maybe see if I can find any information on maybe how to deal with this bug and to see how urgent it is that I deal with this bug.
Okay. I'm gonna say on the bug thing, we're gonna have to hold off until you like upgrade the library, like to a new library or something.
That's absolutely fair.
Or you gain access to some new like knowledge stream.
Information.
That's absolutely fair.
In terms of who these people are, you don't have much to go on. You really just have like a strong,
Vague.
tall looking
Mhm.
woman and a kind of slender, kind of meek looking woman. But if you get a note from Sigrid about the two towns, something does actually pop up in past annals. Actually, it was written by Olga, the woman who you all were supposed to go meet during our Night Sal mystery, but sadly she passed. Friend of Linnea Ethelclint, former society member herself. There's nothing specifically on Tanis, but there is an entry on Meribah, and it's from decades ago. And again, it's a nearby settlement, but it's effectively miles away. But there is something about like these animal attacks in the highlands nearby, and it was kind of sudden. I'm really trying, Jordan. There's like some animal attacks that happened a couple decades ago, very serious, similar to like, shark and Jaws type stuff. It was like that kind of serious. One of the only reasons anyone really knows the name of that town is because this became almost like a folkloric event. Like, oh my God. And it turned out that it was this sudden and unexpected just influx of brown bears. Like just population of brown just exploded for some reason. And it was never fully explained. But there was like hunters kind of came out and sort of, there was a whole movement to help. And there's no satisfactory answer, but Olga had theorized that there, according to her, there might have been some sort of predator, one who potentially saw bears as prey, that might have moved into their habitat and sort of maybe forced those bears away towards the town. Okay. And so that's the only thing that you find relevant to either of those towns.
Bears, thanks.
Yeah.
Gladly share that information.
In your annals. Anybody else doing any kind of specific research?
I would like to consult with our new ghost friend to
Okay.
see if this is something he has ever run across before, or the society has ever ran across before.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe I'll tag along here.
Okay. So he's actually quite happy to see you, and he's getting company. So if his name was Erling Vollen, so you introduce him to Bottega. He's very Caius-like in some regards, like kind of timid at first, a little bookly, but he does open up, and he vaguely remembers the bear thing that Olga referenced. He did not go with her, but he vaguely remembers it, and basically just confirms everything. Like Olga was interested in the area. She visited. She always wanted to go back at some point, but the time just never allowed her to. But it was something that she always wanted to do, because she sort of felt something there. Olga, he says, was very in tune with sort of like magics and ley lines, and she had a kind of an innate ability to kind of sense when sort of magic was afoot. And when you described to him how the dream came about, he says that actually isn't incredibly uncommon. It's not the most frequent way in which they would get invitations to mysteries, but it does happen. There are many out there that can tap into magics, the sighted, the people with sight. There's all different phrases that people might have. And these women likely have some kind of ability. And that he would also suggest that it more than likely wasn't targeting you specifically. It was more targeting anybody who may basically had the channel that happened to be open, and you all having the sight have that channel open.
Damned inconvenient. When a man wants to be rendered insensate, by gum, he should not be able to dream.
He chuckles a little bit nervously, and you probably tell him that you went and saw Linnea as well, and he's
very expecting a missive soon.
Yeah, he's very appreciative. He's a very friendly ghost in the castle. Yeah. Okay. Caius or Yürgan, either of you want to do something? You haven't really.
In their message, they kept repeating it. Sounded like they were kind of talking about like there was somebody that they had tried to help.
Right. They mentioned specifically the phrase "broken boy."
Yeah, the broken boy. So I think what Caius would do is take a little bit of time to sit down and try and do some automatic writing, focusing primarily on broken boy.
Okay.
To see if any insight comes from that, because that seems to be a crux of why things are going the way they're going.
Okay. Roll your check.
I understand it may not get much, but it doesn't hurt to try.
Yeah, it's fine. We can do it. You sit down with your quill.
Wow.
Okay. And nothing comes. Maybe it's just the distance, maybe if you're closer to the event, or the situation at hand, maybe you would get more, but it just, You get a little
Plus, I
bit
keep
of
looking for bugs.
you get the writer's block. Is what happens. All you see when you look down is all work and no play makes Caius a sad boy.
That's fine.
How about you, Yürgan?
Caius.
I don't really have anything in particular that I'm looking for in the clues we've got, but I think he'd be kind of stuck on the bug problem that Chuck mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
So I imagine he'd someday that Chuck's like off, not really paying attention, he'd hear all his doctor tools plop down and hear me walk in like, time for a checkup, I think.
Okay. Roll a medicine test.
All right.
Yeah. This is going to be fun. Okay.
Oh,
Okay. You notice, and you've likely checked Anders before at some point. He's developed scoliosis. Like out of nowhere. Like his spine has twisted and that seems to account for the pain that he's been feeling.
Oh, that's not good.
No.
that's exciting.
For me.
Is this one of those things where you just break it until it's fixed again?
I actually don't know how treatable that is.
I would say there's really not much you can do for him. Like it's just, lessening the pain here and there. He'll have to deal with it and become accustomed to it. From what you can tell, it's not like the biggest curve ever, the biggest twist in the spine, but it's noticeable, especially since he's never exhibited this kind of thing before.
I'd be like, well, good news is I don't need to do anything for you. Bad news is I can't do anything for you. Your back's fucked.
That's great. Luckily, I'm not in my younger running around days. Why did it happen, Doctor?
I'm not sure. Because I would definitely know that's strange. It came out of nowhere. Am I able to like push into that any farther and see if there's any like signs of something messing with him?
Other than the fact that he's got some sort of bags under his eyes as if he's not been sleeping particularly well, and the sort of the twisted spine, that's the only two things that you notice about him.
Okay. Doctor, I'm going to level with you. I think it's something to do with this damn bug.
All right. Tell me more about this bug.
I'll show it to him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like here, I've named him Franklin. I cannot get rid of him.
Where is this bug?
I got it in my hand, like right here.
Oh,
I keep
it's
him in
not
my
like-
pocket.
It's not attached to you?
No, just it hangs out on my chest when I sleep, and it's very disturbing.
Is this the same bug that you smashed?
Yes, or very close to it.
Okay.
It certainly looks like the same, but you're not sure. I mean, you're convinced you smashed it. You smashed it good.
I squished that one. I'm worried this is like an angry cousin or something like that.
Well, there's always one way to test, and I'm going to smash it
Okay.
No.
and keep the body of it
Okay.
in a little nice glass baggie. And
Sure
I'll be
thing.
like, I'll check tomorrow. And
Okay. All right.
see if it's back.
All right.
That escalated quickly.
Last call
Yes, it did.
on any sort of research based things before we hit
So-
the prep phase, like the buying phase.
So Sigrid has a talent called Contacts,
Okay.
which basically says that I'm going to tell you that I already know an NPC.
Mhm.
So to RP that a little bit, like seeing the names of the towns sort of rings a little bit of a bell. So she might kind of go back through some of her journals and see like at some time she might have been traveling. So I'm just sort of giving you a warning that at some point I'm going to say that I know an NPC where we're going.
Okay. Do you want to do that there? Do you want something right now?
I just sort of wanted to give you the heads up.
Okay.
If you want, you can tell me now who it is that I know.
Well, I'm just saying, like, if you wanted, we could. I could give you a contact now and give you a piece of information.
Sure.
Where you're going is in the middle of nowhere, and even our resident friend Drorin didn't know this place.
So maybe I knew somebody who was going to move there, or
right.
somehow it's a.
Okay, so we'll say that you've probably made some inroads with the various clergy folk that occupy the Uppsala Cathedral, and doing some inquiry there. And you can go ahead at whatever point, and you can name that contact.
Okay.
But you
We
do a
have
little talking.
Positive relationship.
Okay, no, for sure, and they're very happy to see you. And when you ask them, you mention the name, like it actually rings a bell for them. Like, actually, yes, I do, and I have in fact heard of that place. And it takes them a second to kind of start going through some of their books, and it seems that not too long ago, within the past few years, a church was getting constructed there, and there was a priest by the name of Father Matteo who was sent out to oversee its construction and the development of a flock there. So they've kept up loose correspondence with Father Matteo in the time, not terribly regularly, but it's been a fairly positive reception. There's a lot of people within the town who seem to very much enjoy what he's been able to bring, and specifically one of the notes will mention a local woman who has effectively become like his right hand, and they affectionately refer to her as Sister Emily, even though she's not actually a nun. But yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. And so you can come up with a name for that contact, and we can tap into them from time to time as well.
Okay, perfect.
All right. So with that in mind, you all know that you're kind of going into the middle of nowhere. It's time to prep. It's time to buy some stuff. So let's do some shopping. So let's get your resource scores.
Yeah.
And let's get that going. So pop your resources and let's see what we get.
Oops, I didn't.
Oh,
I
that's
didn't
right. We got to
that.
roll that, don't we?
Yeah, you got to roll it.
Yeah.
So take your resource score. So if you're just watching Vaesen for the first time, the way this works is money is a little bit abstracted. Every character's got a resource score, usually between like 1 and like 9-ish, something like that, depending on how wealthy their backgrounds are. And they roll that many d6s when they're doing the prep phase of a mystery. And for every 6 that they get on one of those d6s, they get a point to spend on stuff. And stuff meaning like weapons and gear and food and train tickets and all that kind of such. So let's see what we get. Got 2 from Gunner. We've got Melissa's got 3. Joe
We got
gets
6.
Okay, we got 6.
Mm-hmm.
Rubatega, did you get any? Oh,
I got 1.
you got 1. Okay, so it looks like 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so 7.
I'm down by 1, so I can only donate 13.
Okay. So you all have
Only donate 13.
I'm down 1. I'm sorry.
So you have 7. I'm sorry. How many did you get again? We said 7, right? So 7.
You said 7, yeah.
Yeah, 7 points to spend plus whatever capital you want to burn. And so go to town. This is on you all. Figure out what you want to buy.
Right.
So that's what, if you donate all 13, that's
Yeah.
20.
Caius always puts everything up front.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he donates all his capital. So you're up to 20 to spend.
I kind of wanted
I-
to get some armor.
Okay. If you're going to be up in the front lines eating, I don't have any.
We got to pay for our trip there as well
Yeah, we
first,
do.
right?
We
Yeah.
should probably get our travel stuff to
Yeah.
deducted first.
So
And we
you're
can
gonna-
only go so far.
that's going to basically cost you, I'll give it to you at a discount. It's going to cost you 5 for travel.
Okay.
Between train for a little bit and then carriage and horse the rest of the way.
So it puts us at 15 after that.
And do we want to go ahead and get accommodations on the other end as well?
Might as well.
So 1
and we
for
could
that.
potentially roll some for that too. But
Mhm.
later on, we could roll resources instead of spending.
That's true.
As long as somebody has a couple bit of capital, you should be able to easily get accommodations. I wouldn't worry,
Okay.
especially at this place, like because you're not going to a particularly.
I'll
large
sit
or
on my
fancy-
4 with the intention of saving it for lodging.
Okay.
Okay. So Rubitega, if you want armor, what kind of armor are you looking at?
Well, I'm not sure because part of me is tempted to just push for the heavy armor so I can really eat it up. But if I do the heavy armor, I basically can't move.
So the one thing about heavy armor is basically like wearing a suit.
Oh,
of
it's like plate mail.
So it's
Okay.
not something you're going to wear all the time. Like if you have
Mm-hmm.
preparation, you know you're going into a fight and you have the time to put it on, then sure. But like you're not going to be like wandering around town wearing a suit of armor.
That puts some context on
Yeah.
it. What would be more like it all the time? Would medium be all the
Light would
or
be
no?
all the time. I would say medium is probably okay, except at a certain I would probably say on like if I'm saying force tests for like kind of travel or something like that, I'll probably negatively modify it just for because it's a little bit heavier than normal. But yeah, you could do medium, but I'll probably tap into a penalty at some point just for fun.
Yeah, it comes with a -2 agility as
Mhm.
is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's a little bit
Aren't
harder to move
you-
around, but
You
light armor would be
primarily
fine.
ranged.
I'm mostly ranged. Yeah.
Well, then taking that -2 to penalty or agility would hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
If
true.
you're going to be shooting at a distance, I
Well,
wouldn't imagine,
ranged as precision.
which is agility, isn't it? Or no?
No, agility is for
agility is
moving and
considered-
dodging and that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay. Oh, agility is a skill. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't care. Listen, we got 15 points.
Yeah.
Are you getting it or no?
We'll try medium.
Is
I'm
this
happy to endorse you face tanking.
is this travel something that we need like field kitchen kind of stuff for?
From what you could tell, it's you're going to be able to take a train for a little bit of the way, but there's going to be some overland travel where you're probably going to be on a horse or carriage for a decent amount of time. It's even possible you might actually have to camp out a day, a night
Ooh.
there. Yeah.
You can use inspiration to cook. I'll be an
That's what, if
excellent
we get a
cook.
field kitchen.
Yeah. I think that's a good idea because we're going to need to feed ourselves. We should get some provisions as well.
Yeah, nutritious provision.
Who
Yeah.
can use firearms and how many do we have already in the party?
Rubitega and Caius.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I suppose we could get one of them to that like nice quality state.
They're well maintained. Yeah, we get one.
And don't forget that you have the ability to gain advantages during travel that you can always tap into that too. If you're practicing something along the way, that's your advantage during the journey.
If we're going to be out and about in the wilderness as well, how about the compass and map?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Do we want to get the trap if we're heard
Yes.
stories of bears and stuff?
Yes. I agree with that entirely.
Where's the bear spray?
That's what we need.
Bear
Or
off.
poison.
Do we need binoculars?
I
We
have
might.
some
He actually rolled them. He
Oh,
actually
that's
rolled them
right,
again.
I got
on Ruby
binoculars
Tag.
again.
binoculars.
I saw
That's
it
right.
happen and everything. Yeah.
Love
Is
it.
there camping gear, like actual like tent, and
There's a field. What is it called?
there's the field kitchen? Yeah.
There's something else. Where did it go? Simple provisions.
Oh, we should get provisions too.
There's not like a definition, but I was kind of assuming that might be.
Last several days without force tests. That sounds
Well,
delightful.
Is simple or nutritious?
I hate force
Several
tests.
or many.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think simple provisions seem to be physical type things, and then nutritious was more.
I think they're both.
I assume it's just the quality of it.
Yeah,
a lot of
I
these have a
agree.
low
Oh.
quality, high quality.
Yeah, simple
got
is
it.
several, nutritious is provision. So we'd say simple would probably give you like 3 days. Nutritious would give you like maybe 5 days or something like that.
Got it. Okay, so no need to double up.
So how many of those would we want? Also, maybe get hunting equipment
I was just about to say
Oh.
that.
Good call.
if we got to look at bears.
Rope.
That's always a good idea.
Yeah.
Plus, we're all going to have a dog to take with us too. That's just part of the kennels, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what are we down to? How much?
You wanna? If we're gonna be, it's like a forested area.
From what you know, it's forested and also mountainous.
You want like an axe? In case there's.
Poison. We should always bring
Yes.
Yes.
If we can afford it.
And
How
if-
many resources do we have left at this point, Chuck?
After we're at without adding simple provisions, I think we're 9, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're at 10 right now. So we have 2 left. And then we have not gotten provisions yet.
Oh, nutritious provisions is not in there.
I haven't added it in yet. No, because we
Then
never
that's-
said which one we want.
That's probably the one we want then.
Agreed.
Just saying, some of us are rubbish at climbing, and somebody said something about mountain.
Yes, there are going to be mountains. Yes.
Maybe
Highlands
a
was
rope?
referenced multiple times. So when you look at the
Are
map,
there,
there
like-
definitely seems to be kind of mountain ranges in different directions
we-
around
Is
the.
there just general
tapped
climbing
out.
equipment?
We have a light source.
I've got.
If you have,
Some of us should have lamps.
don't forget if you
Okay,
have
good.
capital, you can burn it for the mystery. It's a brand new
Right.
mystery, so you can refresh it if you've burned it last time.
Yeah, I've got up to 5. I haven't
Oh.
spent yet.
Yes,
already
I have
got
a
a-
hurricane lamp.
I have a compass and map book already, so we can take back 4 of that. So we've got 4 left.
So we could buy a rope or a rope ladder if we want to be fancy.
We've already got rope on there.
That all right.
I want to buy an axe.
All right, how much is an axe?
I think 1.
Okay, we have
Yeah.
3 left.
Where did you see the axe?
It's under the melee weapons.
Yep.
I think it would be kind of
Hmm.
multi-purpose.
I only have a chair or a dagger.
You have a chair. You carry a chair with you.
That's all I had. That's all I see under melee weapons.
Oh,
Oh,
what?
Are you looking at the book or in Foundry?
Foundry.
No, Foundry. There's a bunch. What are you talking about? Axe.
are you on the
bayonet,
the shopping
chair.
page?
Yeah. Yeah. For whatever reason, it's just not showing up for me.
All right,
How much is the axe?
1.
It's 1 availability. Costs 1.
Deals 2 damage for a +1 bonus.
Right, we have
Yeah.
5 left. I'm real bad at math. We got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Okay.
No. Yeah, we got 3 left. I don't know what the fuck I'm smoking.
Okay.
I only have a knife, so I wouldn't mind. I guess I could also take an axe.
Yeah,
So
could be time to get some weapons or something for
Okay.
people,
yeah, the
or
knife.
that poison.
The knife's not bad, but the axe does 1 more damage.
Mm-hmm. I'm thinking if there's any, in the woods, an axe isn't a bad thing to have.
Guess you get attacked by some trees or something.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Okay. So, do you want an axe then? I can drag it over for you.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know why I can
Okay.
see it.
We get more
Sneaky.
than 1 axe then?
Yeah. Both Joe and I.
Okay. So that's 2 total then, Chuck.
Okay. That puts us at 10. We got 2 points left.
Just get strong poison.
No. Do we have light?
I thought we decided we have lamps.
What's that? Well, I would like to confirm that we have it because I don't have any light sources in my inventory.
I've got a hurricane lamp,
Okay.
so that's at least 1.
Do we just want 1 more?
Yeah,
Costs 1. If you want a
Probably a good
second.
idea.
wouldn't be a bad idea.
Okay. So 1 more.
Okay.
So someone grab it, whoever wants it, call it out. And you got 1 whole point of availability left to spend. Burning a hole in your pocket.
Liquor.
PS5?
that
Can you get a PS5?
Poison that Bert wanted.
Get a weak poison.
I'm okay with that.
There we
I
go.
wonder
You
how the
call it
poor
a
people
weak
go on
poison.
missions.
I call it experimental drugs.
Okay. So shopping is now done. Preparation. It's done. Got the little information that you have. You're going in somewhat blind. You have a couple ideas. You generally know where you're kind of going. But you get a good night's rest after shopping. You have another series of dreams. Same thing. It's the women again, once more beseeching for help, except Anders, your dream is sort of interrupted by these kind of just fiery landscapes. Like you're watching these women speak and plead, and then they're like someone changed the channel, and it's just like these giant pools and pits of fire and lava. It's like you're having these. It's like you can feel a heat. You wake up. When you wake up, you're sweating, and it's almost like it's like a visage of hell to some degree. And when you do, you see that there on your chest is Franklin, in perfect, pristine condition. And in the morning, I think we lost Bert.
Oh no.
Oh, we did.
Oh, I think we lost Bert.
Oh,
I'm gonna put us on pause screen until we figure out what's going on with. So we'll be right back. So hang in if you're watching. Just give us like 2 minutes or so we can figure out what's going on with Bert, and then we'll go from there. Okay, we should be back. They should be able to see us and hear us and all that wonderful stuff. And if you can't, well, then say something. If you can't see something, say something. Sorry about that. Hey, Brendan, how's it going, man? We had a little internet connectivity issue, but we are back now. We just finished up our shopping. So thus far, if you've just joining us, if you didn't catch all of it, they're getting a new mystery. The new mystery seems to have been communicated to them through some kind of long distance telepathy, as these two women have tried to beseech anybody with the sight to come help. And this crew here got it. Anders has been going through some trouble. He has a new pet bug named Franklin, who has causing him to get like scoliosis and have weird dreams of hell and such. So, good times. And they just did their shopping, and we're gonna get on the road. So let's do the journey phase. So journey phase, we're hopping on the train. So I'm gonna go ahead, and if you can see the map, you can go ahead and go on over to the Mythic North map, and I'll kind of show you the general route that you're taking. But you're going to start off on a train. You can kind of get up towards where Soderham is, and that's going to allow you to meet a guide, get on some horses, and start the long journey. You're going to be able to make a stop or two on some along the way, so it's not like every single leg of this journey is just going to be in the middle of nowhere. But for the first part, it's relatively simple. You hop on the train in Uppsala. It's a warm late summer day, and you're kind of heading through a couple different towns and stops. Large families on the train are causing a ruckus. You can see a bunch of the children start to harass Caius as if they instinctively know that he is a new parent that is completely and utterly in over his head. And so they're just kind of pulling and hanging on him, this and that. And the parents don't really seem to mind you taking them off their hands for just an hour or two.
Excellent.
And there's also like a contingent of priests and nuns that are en route to Sundsvall that are clearly trying to keep the rowdiness of the kid car out of their cars. So remember that during the journey phase, you all can gain an advantage. So just tell me what you're kind of doing at any point. I'm just sort of narrating this a bit, and so interrupt me whenever you think something makes sense that you want to do, and that's how we're doing it. So
Perfect.
So the train travel just a couple hours. It's not too long. It takes maybe half a day between some of the stops that you have to go on to get up towards this switching post to the west of Soderham. And it's at that point that you're going to be hopping off and meeting a guide and grabbing some horses. It's going to take you over westward to Lexend, which is by a place called Lake Siljan. And you're going to have to go around that and start traveling northwest through a little bit more wild country. So what are we thinking we're doing for this, for your
Well, at
journeys?
each stop, I am going to pick up a paper,
Okay.
just whatever the local paper is in each stop, and just fortify myself with just current information on the area.
Okay. Yeah, the most of the things that you're getting seem to be limited to like some of the towns that are west of Soderham, like northwest of Gefle, and that's sort of the smaller cities, not as big as Uppsala necessarily, that are kind of connected loosely to the train tracks, but once you get on the horses and start going around the lake, you're not really getting local newspapers anymore. It's just you're running into small villages and small hamlets, and so like there's really not much that you can see. The main stories you're getting seem to be about just the proliferation of various priests and Christian services and the construction or renovation of churches, old churches in some cases, been around since the Middle Ages, that are kind of getting new love. If you want, you can say take like a learning plus, like on a learning test, you can gain your advantage just having local knowledge of something. Oh, we lost him again.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Let me see if I actually have the other one ready to go. The other one is sort of ready to go. So unfortunately we keep, and he's back. Yeah, he's back. Now we're back to this one. Okay. So go ahead and take a learning +2 advantage there. So on any learning test, Gunnar, you can take a +2 and tap into that. Who
I'm
else?
carrying you for a little bit. It just lost video and everything else. I was going to say the one specific thing I'm looking for is if there's any article about a local boy being injured.
Nope, nothing like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. Who else has got something in mind?
I might actually try and help Caius out with the kids as a way to try and get myself, acclimated to move around in this armor. Try and run around and play with them, and
Okay.
they can probably outdo me.
All right.
Tell me,
Excellent.
little Billy, have you ever tried cocaine?
Oh, shit. Jeez.
No.
Just give
I
me
think
cocaine,
that's going
damn
to
it.
wire them up more.
And
Then
then
you just give them back to their parents. Yeah.
yeah, or you give it back to Caius, and then everyone just shut the door to the carriage and leave him by himself. Have fun, buddy. That's how
That's
Caius
That's how
dies.
it
Dies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't we say well-worn armor? Take a plus, say agility. Take a +2 to an agility test. So that'll be
nice.
your advantage. It sounds like it makes sense.
Yeah, let's I'm gonna help out. I'm gonna give these coked up kids a bunch of piggyback rides and animated storytelling and just wear myself ragged, having a grand old time of it. And
Okay.
then pass out meekly later.
Okay. I think something like a good attitude, maybe get a +2 to an inspiration test. How's that sound?
Okay.
Does that work?
Sure.
That work for you?
Do it for the kids.
Okay. So just something that kind of keep your spirits. You have this fun little memory of hanging out with these kids, and anytime you need to make an inspiration test, you can tap into that. Remember, every time we do these, you have to use a kind of a different skill for it. But there you go.
Mm-hmm.
So once you get off the train and start heading west, it's mostly like a kind of carriage that you're in for a bit until you get to Lexen, which is where you're going to be kind of shifting over to just horses. Along the way, a horse kind of stumbles from the carriage, and there's like this long argument that sort of delays you about whether or not you should put this horse out of its misery. There's a pair of kind of young siblings that are in the carriage with you that are just traveling, and they're returning to a different town around the lake. You notice, Anders, that they are frequently looking over at you and then averting their eyes. Like they look at you and then you kind of catch their eyes and then they look away every single time. You get the sense that they might know you or of you.
Isn't that what we all do when we see Anders?
Yeah.
I don't blame you.
Yeah. So Sigrid and Yürgan and Anders, I think, are left.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, while we're moving through these kind of more wilderness and outdoorsy areas, I want to anyone I can who looks like they may know of I just want to ask. I'm real worried about these bears.
Okay.
So like, just if I gotta come across like crazy dangerous animals in the wilderness, like what's my best bets?
Okay. So after you get off the carriage and you switch over to just horseback and you move around the lake and you start just traveling up kind of these old mountain paths and forest paths, not any kind of highway, you got a guide with you, and you start asking him about bears, and he's there's bears. There's a decent amount. This is fair. This is kind of bear country, but don't go poking around in their territory and caves and such. And if you run into one, just make yourself really big is what he says. Just make yourself just really, really big. So we could say this could be, maybe a vigilance, as you know how to look out for bears. So you can kind of tap into that, something like that.
Sure.
Okay. So yeah, at this point you're you're past you're kind of past Lake Slejan, and you're in more of kind of wild territory. It kind of takes some time. You got to camp out a bit, like you were kind of expecting in the wilderness. So you bust out some camping gear, get a fire going, and you cook as well. During the night, there's all sorts of sounds of like wild animals and such in the hills on either side. There's like these growing foothills that are turning into these they're not like full-fledged mountains or anything, but they're decent sized hills to the east, to the northeast and to the southwest of you. And more than once, all of you wake up in the night. Sometimes it's because of the sound. Sometimes it's because, Anders wakes up in fright and you hear him just shout.
The fiery nightmare.
Yeah.
I did want to check the first night after I smashed the bug back at the back at the castle if the dead bug was still in my little vial.
It is not. Yeah, your vial is empty. And I think you're the last one, Yürgan. I think you're the last one who needs to play your advantage.
I didn't do anything yet.
Oh, sorry, Sigrid too. So, what you think?
Okay.
So I am looking for like an 1850s version of like a AAA triptych of like talking to people that have like gone up the mountain and kind of like compass directions, pull out the map book, like, make sure not to go that way instead. Like, see if we can get some assistance with some directions.
Okay.
Local guidance.
It's a guide again. You could kind of again start pulling on their local knowledge of the area. It doesn't really know, he doesn't spend a whole lot of time around Tanis, but he can give you some basic tips for how to navigate within the wild here and there. So you can do vigilance if you want as well. You could do unless there's something else that you can think of that you might get from this, or learning, even if you want, especially if it's related to like navigation or reading a map or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of my least successful. So, vigilance is fine.
Okay, sounds good. And then Yürgan.
I'm going to be looking for either someone that seems they're pretty outdoorsy or whatever for just some survival tips.
Okay.
Stuff like that.
Okay, so...
and then practice them along the way as we're camping.
Okay, so you can't tell if the guide's kind of like mocking you a bit as everyone's just sort of pestering him, and every now and then you just hear him say, city folk, oh God, city folk. And he's like, your urine makes a fabulous lubricant, and all sorts of like these weird kind of like old wives' tales remedies, and he points to different plants and says, yeah, you can use that to help with an itch, but don't use that to help with an itch, because that'll just make it 100 times worse. And did you ever know that the bladder of a wolverine kind of tastes a little like chocolate? And so he's just throwing out all these kind of weird things, and you're having a little trouble discerning exactly what's real and what's not. But you can do, if you want, vigilance again, if you would like to do that. But I would say a learning test might be reasonable here.
Yep.
Yeah. Just make yourself big, Drorin. That's what they tell us out here. If you run into a bear, just make yourself big. That's it. And then that scares them. And if that doesn't work, reload. Like, reload your last save, because that's... Yeah.
Go find Caius.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. He'll take care of it.
The real trick is to just trip the student next to you.
That's exactly it. All you gotta do is have to outrun one. That's it. Who's the biggest person here, by the way? I'm actually kind of curious.
Oh no.
Sigrid is not small.
Might be me.
Okay.
I picture him as like a well-fed doctor, and
I could see it being Rubatega as well, possibly. Okay. Military background and etc.
Okay.
Tall but slim.
Okay. So probably between Yürgan and Rubatega, we'll say. Rubatega probably looks in a little better shape, but maybe Jürgen's bigger.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I'm picturing like a more Eggman style body for.
Okay. All right. Eggman style body. Okay. Egg-shaped body. Not that this is going to be important later for any reason. Don't worry, it's not important.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Eggs.
So
Definitely
eventually,
not important ever.
about probably afternoon, a little bit before evening, you got a couple hours of light when you finally crest over a hill, and you see, unfolding before you, a very beautiful and quaint town, nestled within kind of a forested area. You can see that they're a little bit outside on a hill, like you're getting kind of a bird, almost like a bird's eye view. You still got to crest your way down there, but like you're looking down at the town of Tanis, and he's like, and that's it right there. Yep. And there's probably a couple dozen of these small cottages. They all kind of look a little kind of painted red of some kind, and you can see none of them are really too elaborate or much different than each other. They're all kind of small, and you can see interspersed between them there's occasional pens for animals, and sort of little herb gardens and vegetable gardens. Nothing enormous. You don't see huge fields anywhere. You can see that a little bit off to the west, you get a beautiful view. It's just an absolutely stunning view. You can see that there's a river and that seems to skate not too far away from the town itself. You can see that on it looks like the western side of town, there's a fairly large, or northwest side of town, there's a fairly large hill, and there's a very prominent looking church that is impossible to miss. It's probably the most striking building. It stands out unlike all the other buildings, which are painted red. This one is kind of a more yellowish graying look. It's got a tall steeple. You think there might be a bell in it and everything. There's in the distance to the northwest, you can see that there's there's like some forested hills that seem to get fairly high. And then you can see also to the northeast, like there's a forest that just sort of extends for miles and miles and miles. But eventually in the distance, there's sort of it's a lot of forested hills basically. But you work your way down. He leads you inside, and kind of the horses are yours to sort of to use for the return trip. He'll ask you like, how long are you planning on staying here? I can give you 3-4 days before I head back. If you want me to hang around, I can lead you back, but I'm sure there's probably someone here too that can do the task as well.
We're not exactly sure on a timeline yet, so if we happen to make it back within your 3 to 4 days, fine. If your time comes and you got to go, then like you said, we can find other
Sounds good.
options.
Sounds good. And so he just sort of, apparently he wears a cowboy hat, and so he tips it, and
As you do. As you do.
as he does. And yeah, you seem, he kind of takes care of the horses and such. And you are in the town itself. He mentions one place because he's been here before, but again, he's like, I think there's a tavern in the center there, Lion's Tavern. It's a fella's name. You can friendly folk here, good people, little out of the way, kind of a little strange, but that's fine. Everyone's a little strange. And you folk were asking me about Wolverine and Barrier and the whole damn time we were traveling. So, anyway, have a good one.
Facts.
And so he disappears.
Straight up facts.
Sure.
But yeah, like you're here, there's people milling about. It's late afternoon. You'd reckon you have maybe 2 hours left, maybe 3 hours of sunlight. What's the plan?
Well, first, I don't want to sleep outdoors again, so let's go secure lodgings for the night.
Agreed.
Okay.
Agree.
An actual fire in a fireplace would be lovely.
That would be fantastic.
So
Yes.
you ask around, people reiterate the same place that your guide
Lion
mentioned.
Tavern.
Go over that Lion's Tavern place. You go inside. It's a 2-story building, but it's still modest. It's not a very large building at all. Nothing here seems to be grossly large. The largest building being the church that you can tell. And you head inside, and
That hurts.
God dang it, friend. But you go inside, and there's a decent amount of people here. Probably look about 15 people or so. It probably fits not much more than that. There's some people standing, some people eating, most people are drinking, but they see you come in, and everyone kind of looks up at you. And a couple people kind of raise a mug, and a few people stare for a little while longer. You are strangers in the middle of nowhere, so they all kind of stare at you really bit. You can even hear a little whispering from time to time. There is a bar. There's a man kind of working behind it. He's got the classic bartender towel over one shoulder. He's got a mug of glass out that he's kind of drying out. When you wander in,
Watching to see if he spits in it first.
no. And so you wander up, introduces himself, and his name is Lion. Like that's his name. So
That's straightforward.
Out of towners. Wonderful. So what brings you all to our neck of the woods here?
We're out on business, kind of. We got a notification, a letter, might say, that a couple friend of ours were in need of some assistance. It was specifically not necessarily a couple friend of ours, a friend of friends.
Yeah.
And the details are scarce at best. So we're,
What are their names? I mean, everyone here knows everybody. It's a small place.
as I said, very scarce on the details.
You don't have their names.
I don't even have their names. I can give you a physical description, but I don't know how far. And I'll just give them that. See if anyone fits that.
Oh, you see him kind of, as you're describing them, he's listening intently. He's got a big old smile on his face. The smile starts to fade as you continue that description. And he says, "They're friends of yours, huh?"
Friends of friends. We've been asked to do some investigation. I'm completely in the dark. If you have information, you could help me greatly in figuring out what pickle we found ourselves in.
Look, we owe a favor to a friend. That friend transferred our favor to another friend. You know how it goes. We're just stuck.
Yes.
Let's see. Roll a manipulation test. One of you, and
Ooh.
the other one can take a +1 mod from that.
Bert, I'll let you do the manipulation. I was floundering through it. If you want to take a bonus from me.
Let's see, manipulation is here.
That's a good start.
Yeah. I'm not going to push it. It's just
Okay.
if it's weak, it's weak.
Okay. And he's like, he just very quickly and curtly, and then he moves on to something else, mentions, "That sounds like the Stromberg sisters. Excuse me, I have some work to do." And you see him just turn around and begin ignoring you and working on something else. Just cleaning glasses, making drinks, that kind of thing.
Well, that did not go.
Well, we know they're not well liked.
We
To
do.
start.
And we have a name.
Do we still need to follow up on lodging, or do we want to try and come back on that later?
As someone who's not myself or Gunner should secure the lodging.
Tap in, tap out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sigurd will try.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you ask just random people, like, well, where to stay, and someone's like, "Well, upstairs, maybe," or you could just, befriend one of us and give us a little bit of coin. Maybe you got an attic or a cellar or a sofa you can lay in.
Might be able to tap into the church if this strikes out and see if they can help us out.
Oh well, I don't know if Sister Emily's gonna.
No,
I don't
this
think
is
she.
more just between I and Sigurd.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, first I would just try with Lion. Just
Mhm.
it's been a long. Yeah, I'm sort of going for the long traveled, weary female that could use somewhere to rest
Mhm.
angle. See how that
Okay.
works.
All right. Roll a manipulation test. I don't know what that looks like, by
Yeah.
the way. Long traveled, female, weary.
Like, all the nights in the campfire and a tent and a actual bed would just be lovely.
Okay. Roll manipulation. This is the last chance you get at this with this guy.
You
Okay.
often depended on the kindness of strangers.
There's something that I have. I just want to. I can use observation instead of manipulation when having a confidential conversation. Would you consider
I
this?
don't think this is confidential.
Okay,
Rubatig is
thought I'd give it a shot.
nearby. There's a lot of people at the
All right.
bar.
I was gonna give it a whirl. Nope, he's not buying that either.
Okay, you
Oh
want to
my
push?
gosh.
Guess you guys are finding a campsite.
No, I don't think it's. I think we can find somewhere to rest. I don't think it's worth
Okay.
it.
So yeah, he doesn't. He just says, "Listen, I don't want any trouble. I don't want to get, it's. I just rather not. Like it's just, your friends over there said you're helping. I don't want any of that business here. Okay, I just don't want any of that. If you excuse me, I can get you a drink. If you want a drink, I'll get you a drink. That's fine. I'll get you some food. But other than that, I would prefer maybe if you just, it's beautiful weather. Plenty of people sleep outdoors. So there's plenty of friendly folk here too. Maybe one of them can put you up. But no thanks.
I'll take some food.
Okay. So yeah,
if everybody else is willing to sit down for
I'd talk to him a bit and be like, you wouldn't happen to know any like travel guides for the area? Maybe like elderly ones, maybe ones with a limp.
Elderly ones with a limp.
He doesn't want to be the old man with a limp.
I have low standards.
You're looking for a travel guide, an elderly travel guide with a limp?
Not necessarily, but I'm saying I'm open to whatever I can get.
somebody you can keep pace with.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll like, are you hunting or?
Just if I wanted to, go around, see what there is to see in this area without finding myself lost. I'm not too familiar with woods or anything like this.
I'll tell you, there's just you, just too many out of towners of late. But you can talk to Philip Edlund. He might be able to help you out.
All right.
So
there's plenty of other people in here, but I feel like you guys have kind of exhausted all you're going to be able to get out of the tavern guy.
Yeah,
that's fine. I would like to go maybe ask some of the patrons here.
Okay.
Hey, we're supposed to be meeting up some traveling companions. There would have been some other new people who have just arrived. Could you maybe point us in their direction?
Okay. So you just start asking around. Roll manipulation tests just in general,
Sure.
as you kind of mingle to see if you make a good impression on the folks around here.
maybe there's some other people with sight who have
God,
arrived.
no.
Oh my
What the
gosh.
hell?
You guys are going to die. This is like Wicker Man time. Like they're
what
just
is
going
the
to burn you
statistics of
alive. It's
this?
over.
God.
I'm not.
Like-
I want to push it. I think.
There we go. That's what we want to hear.
Oh,
Oh my
God.
goodness.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna go ahead and just take.
Okay.
Can we just go find the guide and be like, you know what? I think
Just-
city life
Can we just
is better.
Do we
for
just go
us."
Can we just
directly
go
to the
back?
sisters?
Yeah, you don't really get pointed out to anybody. You do get some stuff. The rumor, there's basically two sets of recent travelers in addition to yourselves. From what you've heard, that there's a group of like railroad surveyors, from what you know of, and there's also some kind of like, I don't know, like he thinks he's like a professor, like some kind of learned man. He's got tons of books and he's got a big old impressive looking woman with him. Like you get a lot of that, like impressive looking woman with him, and over and over again. But they don't really give you specifically where to find him, and they don't point out anybody else in here.
Maybe it's time to try our luck outside of this tavern.
Jordan, I have no
Yeah.
idea what weather is like in late summer. No idea.
Maybe we could go to the church and see if the church can refer us to someone who would be helpful.
Anybody else want to do anything other than Sigurd would be up? Sigurd's always up to find the local clergy.
That seems like a good start.
With these rolls, we could use some divine intervention.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's what I'm going for.
Okay.
Help beyond this.
So we'll say you probably stay, get some food. Sigrid had said that. So, and then once you leave, it's basically sunset at this point. But you head to the northwest side of town. Again, you're just weaving between. There's no clear pattern to how the building's been laid out. It's not like a grid or anything. It's all kind of scattered, and you hear the various sounds of animals here and there, and you make your way through town square, like this large open area. You can see as you're passing by that there are a couple people, that the couple carpenters working on something in the middle of town, and it looks like a gallows from what you can tell, but it doesn't look like it's yet completed. There's a handful of folks that are there kind of chatting with them here and there, and but they kind of look up at you, and everyone just kind of watches as you walk by, not creepily or anything like that. There's like with confused look on their faces, like even more strange folk coming to our middle of nowhere town. But you get it over to the church. There's a winding half kind of like, it's not quite built yet, like a staircase almost, that's kind of trying to go up the hill itself. You can see it's trying to be carved in, but it's not fully completed. Once it's done, it might be quite beautiful. There's attempts at like sort of nice vegetation, and you can see that there's a graveyard, a very small graveyard attached to it. It's not very big, but you get up to the front doors of this church. Now that you're closer, it actually doesn't really look that big by comparison to the other ones, the other buildings you've seen. It is kind of big, but your initial impression maybe not quite what you thought it was. But you go up, you go inside, and when you first walk in, there's this like baptismal font that's got this kind of angel that's holding up this big bowl, little wings kind of folded in their back, and some kind of like sort of snaky thing, kind of almost like, you're not sure if it's like something like a strap or whatever, or an animal, and it's just sort of there holding it up, and there's a bit of water. You can see up in the front row, and there's only a couple rows, maybe there's room for about 30 people to sit, maybe 40 people at most. You can see that there's a woman who's just kind of there, and she's just kind of in a praying pose. And there's no one else in here. There's a couple candles lit. Looks to be stone floor, stone low walls, but the top parts of the walls and then all the way up to the ceiling seem to be more wood and rafters and things. But the door creaks open, and she kind of looks back, looks at you all again, that kind of confused look at seeing random strangers. And then she goes back to her praying, says a few things, and then she gets back up. She sort of kind of straightens her gowns a bit. And then she starts waddling over towards you. And
so Sigrid will approach her and say, "Oh, you must be Sister Emily."
I am indeed. I'm sorry, I don't know who you are. I don't.
No, apologies. You would know who any of us are. We are from Uppsala, but
Uppsala.
I have
You've come quite a distance.
It's been quite a journey, but I had heard that Father Matteo and Sister Emily were the folks to look up when we were here. My contact Arnie in Uppsala knows Father Matteo and said that I should look you up.
So she, not too dissimilar to the way that worked with the tavern guy, she had a smile, kind of a reluctant smile on her face when you mentioned that when you knew her, apparently. And even when you said Uppsala, her smile was still there. But then you started continuing to talk, and you mentioned your friend Arnie and how come to see Father Matteo, and suddenly her face, like the smile, just dips down again, and she kind of,
I'm sorry. Did I say something wrong?
No, it's just that I'm afraid Father Matteo has gone missing.
Oh dear.
Yes.
Is this recent news?
Somewhat recent, yes. He's been missing for 9 days now. Yes.
Oh, goodness. Was he out on a hunting trip or something?
No. No one's particularly sure exactly what happened to him, but I can tell you with great certainty that those devil-worshipping bitches, the Stromberg sisters, clearly... Oh, I'm very sorry. She says like a quick Hail Mary, were responsible for it.
Well, I don't quite understand why would they do such a thing?
Because they are devil-worshipping witches who they just...
Did he try to interfere with them? Was he trying to
Father
convert
Mateo has
them?
brought the word of God to our misbegotten little town. Yes. I'm sorry, who did you say you were again?
I apologize. My name is Sigrid, and I'll introduce
Okay.
the group.
Sigrid, roll a manipulation test, and you can get a +1 because you did mention like sort of religious connections in Uppsala and such. So, and if anybody else wants to pitch in and say something that might warrant an extra bonus, you can go ahead and think about that too.
Sure. We're here to try and do a little investigation of business going on around town. So
the church sent someone to investigate Father Mateo's disappearance. How wonderful! Take a +3. She's
Ooh.
very excited. Oh, my prayers have been answered. Oh, how wonderful! Oh my goodness,
Oh,
people,
God.
what's going on?
no.
Oh, jeez.
I am going to push
Okay. So
that.
what condition are you taking?
That's 34 failures
It's
in a
34
row.
straight failures.
Let me push and see what happens with that.
Probably gonna be angry. There we go.
One
Yes.
one
I'm
success.
going to be angry.
Okay.
I really would like somewhere to sleep. This isn't looking so good.
Okay. No, like when you mention that, when Rubitega mentions that they're there to investigate, she puts it together in her mind that the church has sent you to investigate the disappearance of Father Mateo. Oh, God be praised.
I say nothing so that I'm not lying, but I'm
Mhm.
nodding as she connects the dots.
Absolutely knew that we were taking the right test when we yes, Captain Davidson would be so delighted to hear. His conscience has been racking him with guilt. He has been very reluctant to go through with the execution, but with the fact that the church is sending, that just reinforces everything that I've been saying.
I'm sorry, who
which one
is
of you
to be executed?
the Stromberg sisters, which one of you is the interrogator? Who is going to put thumb screws and the pins and whatever
We all turned to Gunner.
Yeah, so we look at Gunner.
Yeah, we all looked at Gunner.
I'll look at Gunner. Yeah. Now, depending on our findings, we may take them back with us for a more formal investigation.
She kind of looks at you strangely. She laughs. That is a very funny joke, but of course they need to be executed. Of course, it is God's will, right? So she's, yeah. When you look at her, by the way, she's not dressed in any specific formal wear. She's just got like very plain, like rough spun wool clothing. She doesn't have any official, like, she doesn't look like somebody who, like, she's not a nun, and that's like what your contact Arnie said. She just seems and she's the only person here. But she's very excited about that you're here, that you're going to investigate the disappearance, that somebody here can finally get the information out of those devil worshipping witches, and we can find Father Mateo.
It's going to try to pivot a little bit from the whole like killing people without evidence, and try to ride the wave of her appreciation into somewhere for us to sleep.
Yeah. First of all, we need lodging.
Okay. For for agents of the church, of course. We unfortunately don't have much. I can fetch blankets from my home. The pews are probably not going to be very comfortable, but at least there's a roof over your head. The cellar is I wouldn't recommend. It's very dank, and but you're welcome to stay here, of course.
And I'll sort of raise my eyebrows to the group, like,
Better than sleeping outside.
That is incredibly kind of you. Thank you so much for your hospitality.
Of course, I am just so grateful that you are here. That you can. Most of the villagers have seen the wonders of what God can provide, but there are still some who cling to the old ways and tradition. I'm not trying to say that tradition is not important, but there is a right way, and the way that the Stromberg sisters have, their way is not right. It is no, not at all. No, they're heretical. They promise powers that they do not have, and that only God has. So,
Sigurd's gonna kind of dip her toe in that a little bit and just say that there was something about a boy.
Yes, but I suspect this has been going on for far longer than Magni. Magni Blom, the poor child was. His family doesn't live in town. You see, there are some within Tanis who still live away from our small civilized pocket, and they live in the outskirts, in the forests, in the highlands, and his family being one of them. And he unfortunately was not being supervised. Terrible parenting. What kind of husband or father or mother would abandon a child for an hour, let alone an entire afternoon? What kind of parent wouldn't keep both eyes on the child as often as possible?
Sigurd will try to manage that a little bit and say, I'm sure they were doing the best they could, but what happened?
Best
I'm
they
trying to direct
could.
her away from that judgment.
Their negligence, because they chose to prioritize other things besides the health and well-being of their child, gallivanting around in the woods, picking flowers and mushrooms, or whatever it was they were doing, because that apparently was more important than raising their child. Yes, poor Magni fell from a cliff and broke his back. It was very tragic. The healers here in town, they did what they could for him. They helped to alleviate his pain, but Magni, unfortunately, would never be able to walk again. Until the Stromberg sisters channeled whatever demon that is that they channel their power from, and they put that into that poor innocent child, effectively damning him in his eternal soul. And now he runs free. But at what cost? At what cost?
Well, were there not members of your congregation that were praying for a similar miracle for this boy?
Do not try to suggest that their actions were the results of our hard-earned and hard-won prayer. No, God does not work through the Stromberg sisters. Something more devilish works through them. You should know better. You seem to be a woman of God, as do the rest of you. Godly
We've
folk.
even, the good book speaks of, wicked men that have had the scales taken from their eyes. Maybe this is the path to bring the wicked to the light.
I hear you, good man. But I have known them I have known Lizette and Annika since I was a young child. We used to be friends, and they have had this streak of evil in them since we were very young. They nearly got me killed once. A very similar effect. Taking me up into the hills, into the little backwater area, and leaving me to wander by myself, and then chanting strange little spells in the dark just to make little old Emily scared. No, 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 no. These are not people that can be saved. No, 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 no. They've had chances in their lives, and they have chosen their path.
I'm sorry to hear that. That sounds terrifying.
It does.
Where
Go ahead, Anders.
where are the sisters being stored at now?
Oh, Captain Davidson has them under lock and key.
That is relieving to hear.
Yes, indeed. He's a very capable man. A war hero, in fact. Yes.
How long do we have until these heathens are executed?
Well, if we could just get some worthwhile carpenters to finish the gallows. They put it together 2 days ago, and then wouldn't you know, it broke. They said something about an earthquake or some such, and then they rebuilt it yesterday, and it broke again, and they said, oh, it dry rot or some such, and now they're building it a third time. I swear, you just can't find good help these days.
That is quite shameful.
Yes, indeed.
Well, we are going to have a very busy morning. Perhaps you could get those blankets and we could start
yes, of course.
setting up for the night.
Yes. Can I fetch you anything else while I'm in town?
I think we're good. We'll be okay. Just the blankets are fine. Maybe if anyone asks, I don't necessarily think it's important for this to be a secret that the church has sent us.
I understand.
Maybe our presence will bring a little bit of peace and ease of mind.
I shall tell everyone at once. There is a fireplace if you need it. An outhouse in the back by the graveyard. And I'll return. And she excitedly hurries off. All right.
Okay.
Oh man, that was a lot.
Okay.
Exaggerated eye roll for Sigrid as soon as she turns away.
Oh,
So-
little excitable.
Yeah, that's an understatement.
This is the unfortunate piece of belief in a direction with not knowing the full version of the world like we do. There's a narrow view.
So we're going to have to save these sisters, maybe?
I mean, that's sort of the original purpose here. So, maybe there's some sort of accidental fire and their bodies are just never found again.
It's always a good idea. Could be a bear attack.
Could be a bear attack.
They do have information we need, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we just do a little more talking before anything drastic. We don't need to play shoot 'em up with the whole town or anything.
At a minimum, we need some more information. And we need to be
does-
very careful.
I would hate to say it, but I think we've got a rather relaxed timeline because it sounds like the sisters are probably responsible for the trouble with the gallows.
Yeah.
Or something that they're associated with is.
Yeah, that could be.
Do we have any interest in talking to the family? The
Yeah.
boy
And the boy.
Yeah.
kind of seems like a fairly neutral starting place.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that. That's a good idea. Yeah, let's bare minimum in the morning. We'll make sure to talk to the captain and ask him to hold off any executions until we have a chance to do our proper interrogation as inquisitors
their-
from the church.
set on doing it by gallows. That's going to be put off until that's built anyway.
Yeah.
But I'd like to talk to the carpenters that have been building the gallows.
Okay. You saw
Find
them
out.
as you were passing
Yeah.
by. You
Oh,
might be able to
what
catch them.
What events have gone on to make it not be finished?
So if Gunnar, you want to hustle down, does anybody want to go with Gunnar?
I'll tag along. Yeah.
Okay. So Gunnar and Anders, you hustle back
Yeah.
down.
I'll go
Rubitega,
too.
the three of you. You make it back. And you can see that they're packing up their tools at this point. Looks like it's mostly intact. It's got like the stage and everything. They haven't quite got the posts up. You can see that there's a pile of wood off to the side. Like it's sort of almost like rubbish at this point, but there's two of them. They see you coming and they kind of nod and they're like, travelers.
Business with the church.
Ah, I see. Well, it's been bad business of late for the church. It's been very, poor Father.
So,
Father Mateo.
Tell me, is this wood here, is this what became of the gallows that was being built?
Oh, yes, the pile over there. That's from yesterday. Yes, we tried to salvage some from the day before. It's been, yes, I suppose it's just been an unseasonably hot winter. Things have been dried, or summer. It must have. I'm honestly, I'm just not really sure. The nails
would
just
you-
don't seem to stay tethered.
Would you mind if I took a look?
Of course, go right ahead.
Yeah, I want to just thoroughly. I mean, you're going to grab out my my magnifying glass and check to see, over the wood to see what's happened, stress fractures.
Yeah,
The nails just aren't biting and staying. Check out the holes. Just do all of that.
yeah.
See if I can figure out anything.
Yeah, go ahead and roll an investigation.
All right. More importantly, because my investigation allows me to see Vaesen intrusion. One success.
Okay. So basically, from what you can tell, the wood looks incredibly dry to the point where it's just almost like paper ripping apart. It looks to be some kind of like a mixture of birch and pine, and regardless of which one you're looking at, the piece is just, you can easily just kind of break it apart in your hands, like it's been just dried of anything. When you look at the nails that they're using, there's a significant amount of rust that has grown over them, and they just don't seem like, the holes where they've nailed in just seem to kind of widen and split, and they just don't stay together.
Jeff, my eagle eye should have factored into this with another 2 die. Would you mind if I rolled them?
Go right ahead. Yeah.
Did that work?
/R space 2d6 should do it.
That roll?
Doesn't look like it. I don't see it.
Or why this isn't working? Wow. Okay.
I'll hit it. I'll get it for you.
Yeah. Thanks.
I'll
Yeah.
do it.
I think it's whatever's going wrong with my browser tonight is affecting that.
That's a no, unfortunately. A 3
Okay.
to 1.
So no extra successes to spend on the 6 cents then.
Right. I would say you like, because you have like that kind of the Vaesen talent there. There's nothing here to suggest specifically that there's no claw marks or bite marks or anything on this that would suggest some kind of animalistic type Vaesen. But looking at you had that recent trip with the frogs on parade when you saw a lot of rot and such. This looks a little different. This looks, you've gotten the sense of there might be magic that might have applied here. Like, you kind of get that, you're getting the sense, just sort of a gut feeling more than anything.
I look at that the current stage and see what kind of state it's in.
Yeah. You go
Maybe jump around on it a little bit.
Yeah, and when you do, they're like, please no, we've had one of them break from earthquake. We've had another one break from poor wood. And we don't need a strange man jumping up and down on it, breaking it for a third day.
Very well.
Sister Emily might want us to add a couple extra nooses if it breaks a third time, I'm pretty sure.
Very well. I'll just look at it with my hands and eyes from
Okay.
the outside.
All right. But
Just to, you know,
the couple
it's a
jumps
sturdy
you
feeling.
did get, it felt sturdy.
Okay.
Yep. So looks like they just ran out of materials, and they're gonna have to get some more materials and set up the posts and stuff. Like, yeah, we hopefully should have this done by tomorrow evening. I would imagine. She's probably gonna want to make a big show of it, knowing Emily. So, anything else you want to do with them?
I think that
Okay.
gives us some
Those is
insight.
what we need to know.
All right.
Yeah.
So as they're packing up, you can see coming out of a building just a door away. You can see there is Sister Emily, and she's got like a big old wad of blankets in her arm, and she is flanked by another man who's got like a big old bushy mustache that connects to big old bushy mutton chops. You can see he's got like an officer's cap on and kind of a double-breasted jacket where the buttons aren't fully buttoned. And he's got a sidearm on his on his hip, and the two of them step out and they're talking, and she looks over and she sees you. Oh, Captain, these are some of the people that I mentioned. Come. And so she comes over and she introduces, and she's this is Gunnar, and this is Anders, and this is Rubitega. And the captain like shakes your hands, Anders, and then Gunnar, and then he pauses on Rubitega, and he kind of like eyes you up and down.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of looks at you. He's like, you've got the look of a military man about you. Yeah.
It's in the past.
Oh yeah. Well, it's in the past for me too. Well, whereabouts you serve? When did you serve?
There are some things that I just wish I could forget.
No, war is that. But sometimes, talking it out with other folk that have been there and have been through it, and gonna help you move past it too. So, I had some nightmares myself for some time, but talking to old Sister Emily here and some other friends in town, and I've been able to kind of put that past behind me. So yeah, whereabouts?
I don't have that much information to make something up just yet. So
Okay. So he's going to kind of take notice of your elusiveness and sort of like your squirminess.
well, part of it's also my dark secret. So
Right, exactly. And so he's just going to kind of notice, like, never met a man who hasn't been proud to serve.
proud, yes, but also just hurt.
Uh-huh. Okay. So anyway, he kind of turns back over to Gunnar and Anders and gets a little sideways glance at Rubitega, who he has now grown suspicious of. This is one of those moments in the Telltale games where it's like, Captain Davidson will remember that. And he looks to the two of you and he's like, so Emily here says y'all are here to investigate on behalf of the church. Is that right?
That is quite correct, my friend.
Yeah. Did they send with you any sort of official documentation or such to certify you or kind of outline the expanse of your powers?
No, I don't have it on me. But
No.
I think maybe one of my companions in the church might have it.
Oh, come on up. I'll give her a hand. And he reaches over and he grabs the extra blankets. Like, come on, I'll give you a walk back. It's not that far. It's a
This is
nice night.
fantastic. I think maybe Caius had that.
Caius, all right. Okay, which one's Caius?
He's the skittish looking one.
Skittish looking one. Okay, all right. Not this one over here. And he points over towards Rubitega.
No, not that one there. No.
Okay. All right. So y'all
But that was the skittish one, not the suspicious one.
Yes, that's
Check.
the difference, my friend.
check. Roger that. So which y'all priests or y'all holy men?
No, our holy retinue is led by Sigurd. We're actually church has asked us to do some favors. I'm actually a professor.
Oh
who
yeah.
has history in investigating essentially, the darker secrets of the world and
Sure.
bringing them to light.
It's strange coincidence. We got another historian out here, actually. Yeah.
I would be absolutely thrilled to talk with them and see if they've come up with anything as well.
I haven't seen him today, but portly fella, big
Okay.
beard, or excuse me, big mustache, and
Yeah.
The time hasn't been good to his hairline, but somehow he managed to get that. He's got one fine-looking woman that's been following him around.
I have heard.
I don't mean that in sort of a lecherous sense. I mean, I'm pretty sure she probably could best all of us in, well, fist fight, wrestling match, whatever you want to call it. But she seems friendly. They both can tell a good tale, different kinds. But anyway, and I'm imagining this is all happening while you're walking.
Yeah.
But yeah, his name is Olaf. If you see him. No.
Pleasure to meet you, Olaf.
Well, no, I'm Captain Davidson.
The historian is I. You've already told me that. I was lost in thought.
Hey, you've had a long journey. It's all right. It's all right. It's a long way to travel out here. Gotta tell you.
It is.
We are not on the main line, they would say.
That is exactly what I found.
So it doesn't take long for y'all to get back to the church. And he like kind of tucks it and opens the door, lets Sister Emily in. She's no, thank you, etc., and goes inside and he's kind of introduces himself to everyone. Hey, name's Captain Davidson. I do a little bit of everything around here. A little bit of, we tend to all make decisions together. Small community, but when someone's got to make the call in the end, it'll be me. And with plenty of influence here by my good friend Emily. But I'm told Caius is the man I should be talking to. Which Squirrel? It's this one right here, right? This young one right here.
Yes, he stands out to the crowd.
It's good to meet you, Caius. This guy is probably in his 50s, but he seems, good to meet you, Caius. How you doing? You're muted. Still muted. On Zoom, you're muted, it looks like. There you go. You're off now, looks like.
Sorry, I seem to have had my tongue tied there for a moment.
Yeah, it's all right.
I was just going through some. Yes, it's great to meet you.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
I heard you're a war hero even.
No, well, some people say that, but...
or at least you're a hero to the people in this town. And that's enough, really, isn't it?
That's probably more like it. I'm sure Sister Emily will bore you with one of her stories that I'm sure she has embellished as embellished can be. She shined that to it's reflective at this point. That's how much she shined it. But let's not worry about that. So, I hear you're formally with the church. Is that correct, there, Caius? Caius, what's your last name, by the way?
Roding.
Caius Roding.
Yeah.
Yes, I was just telling the captain that you had all of our official documentation from the church outlining our purview and scope.
Yeah, I just want to make sure everything's on the up and up. I wouldn't want just a bunch of strangers coming into town thinking that just because we're way out here in the middle of nowhere that we can just get the wool pulled over our eyes all nice and easy. But you people wouldn't do something like that. Not the old Sister Emily. And meanwhile, Sister Emily's like, oh, they're wonderful. This one here, and she's like pointing out like Sigrid, like, oh, a religious woman, look at her. Like, I wish we had more of those here. And he's just kind of like, just yes, Emily. But he could tell he's immediately like just suspicious of everybody.
I would be standing slightly behind him, facing Caius, just mouthing like, "I'm so sorry."
Okay. Mr. Caius there, Mr. Rowan, you all right? You look a little sickly.
Maybe it might get it, but would you be willing to step outside and have just a breath of air with me? My constitution is not handling this trip so well.
No.
I just need some air.
Oh, that's not a problem at all. No problem. So he'll put his arm around you, kind of pull you. Yeah, it's all right. And he kind of like pats you on the back a little bit. That's okay. Sometimes the mountain air is a little harder.
Can I make a confession? I am a deeply religious man.
Are you?
Sigrid is actually the real priest of us. And I do sometimes make donations, and sometimes that allows me privileges. But I wouldn't call myself official. But sometimes a man of my station carries himself in a certain way and allows others to assume things. And these are good people, and they really are trying to do good things. I'm a novelist, and I feel like there's an opportunity for an amazing story here.
Mr. Roden, are you trying to tell me that you've been lying to Sister Emily? Is that what you're trying to tell me right now?
I didn't directly, and I'm so sorry. Sigrid is completely telling the truth in her intent, and this is all my fault.
So you're not officially here to investigate the disappearance of Father Mateo. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
I have selfishly used my position to sell false pretense to my friends. They are good people. They are good people, and I do think that they'll do their best to help.
Well, I gotta tell you, Mr. Roden, there, first impression, I don't know. The first time I met you, all just started lying. And, trust is a hard thing to earn back once it's lost. Go ahead and roll a manipulation test, Caius.
Okay.
All of our misses tonight have got to be balanced by this next roll that you're about to do.
What we have to bank on.
Well, the good news is I can roll my inspiration in place of my manipulation.
Okay.
And
you have a +2 for inspiration as well from your advantage.
I think I might just use that because I feel like we need something.
We're almost done for the night.
We need a win.
Yeah.
We
okay.
do.
Need a win. Just try and tap into hopefully he'll buy into the humility of it for whatever reason.
Oh my god.
Wow. All of that for one success. Okay. All those dice.
Okay.
This is awful.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Let me double check something really quick here to see if pushing it would actually benefit you in some way. Let's see what I have in my notes.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. There is one thing that you could potentially gain from an extra success if you wanted to push it. It's up to you.
I will.
Okay.
Why not?
Come on.
Maybe there'll be a second success in all those tries.
Maybe.
Oh my gosh.
What?
Wow, guys. This is just...
Oh my god. This is unmerciful.
It's just not tonight.
Let's just turn it in. We're done.
Listen, it could be worse.
Oh my god.
There could have been combat tonight.
12 dice.
Imagine if there was combat tonight.
I'm choosing hopeless. I feel hopeless at this point.
We're giving up on this investigation. It doesn't want to be investigated.
So
no, it doesn't.
He's got his arm around you. He pulls you in close. You're like, oh, it's all right. Well, I appreciate your honesty now, Mr. Roden, but if you could, please stop taking advantage of the naivete of my friend Emily. She is not a worldly person. She has spent her entire life here, and, well, although she is particularly keen to point out that there are some folks within our town that tend to gravitate towards the devilish ways, she is a bit naive that just simple folk like yourself can just tell a lie from time to time. Sometimes, lies are like snowballs just rolling down a mountain. Starts off small, and as time goes on, it gets bigger and bigger until it's just unstoppable. So I'll keep this between you and I for now, but let's not extend any of those fictions any further. I'm sure your novels are wonderfully entertaining, but we got a serious situation on our hands. We got two women who have been, they've been communicating with the devil, and we're going to have to set that right in a very serious way.
I understand. I'm incredibly sorry.
Okay. And while we're just you and I, what do you know about that Rubitega fellow, your friend there? Now, I want to stress here that honesty is expected right now, sir.
I haven't known him as long as the others. I think he was a soldier. I'm not a martial man myself, so
I wouldn't have guessed. About how long you been an acquaintance of his?
I'm trying to imagine. Like he showed up right around the time of the Halloween episode. We said that's been like a few weeks
It's
past.
probably been a couple weeks. You probably maybe a month you've known him.
Maybe a month.
Okay.
We have slightly different dispositions and hobbies,
Sure.
but he seems pleasant enough.
I understand. So, Mr. Caius, one last thing.
Mhm.
Sister Emily has said that she's going to allow you all to use this here church as your headquarters to sleep while you're here. And that's all fine and good. But should anything happen to this church or to Sister Emily, I will hold you personally responsible. Is that understood?
That is completely fair. I understand and I accept that.
And you notice that his hand is resting on his gun when he says that.
Oh,
All right.
I understand.
Now,
Yes, sir.
I've been told that you all had a very long road here. So
Mhm.
I'm going to go ahead and let you all get some shut eye. But in the morning, I'm going to want the rest of you to come on down to my office, and we're going to talk a little bit about why you're really here. Because if you're not part of the
Absolutely.
church, I'm going to want some transparency. Is that all right?
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Well, all right. Well, you have a good night. He slaps you on the back really, really hard.
You too, sir.
Opens the door, says, Emily, come on, why don't we give these people some time to rest, and we'll come back in the morning. So
Turn to the rest of the group once he's gone. Note to ourselves: next time, perhaps we should forge some paperwork before we set off.
Well, yes.
I mean, maybe with some.
Just as a general thing, I'm thinking.
Well, we didn't know that we were going to put ourselves in a situation. When we
Well,
set
Oh
off.
no! I'm thinking some forgeries from
Several
police
organizations.
constables that we
Yeah.
know of, churches, maybe even a sanitation works. Whatever might be useful.
Just a handful of forged documents,
Yeah.
Okay.
templated out.
So,
Didn't know we were gonna roll so poorly.
Wow. Roll
Oh,
20s
okay.
moved into our.
yeah.
yeah,
Oh my gosh, we brought it here.
that was rough.
So bad.
So as you all settle in for the night and you get your blankets and stuff set up, everyone takes a pew, stretches out. It's not very comfortable, but again, it's better than sleeping on the ground outside. And you fall asleep, and Anders,
Yep.
you wake up once more in the middle of the
My
night.
friend.
You have this awful dream about fire, brimstone, lakes of lava. You see awful, horrible things that they're being done to various folk in the vague distance, like torture, and just terrible. You wake up, you just sort of vomit all over yourself.
Oop.
And there,
Yeah.
this is Anders. And you see there's your friend Franklin just sitting there right on your chest. Everyone else around you's sleeping. But as you're sitting there,
Yeah.
the ground begins to shake.
I'll I heard word of earthquakes. I'm going to get up, tuck Franklin back into my pocket, and then wake everyone else up.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, are you wiggling too, or is it just me?
Don't shoot.
So as you all wake up, every one of you can feel that the earth is definitely shaking. You hear the sounds of the church bell kind of ringing dully. The walls are kind of, they're staying intact, but bits of sawdust and dirt and such begin to fall on you. And I think that's where we're going to go ahead and end this first ep of A Tale of Two Sisters. All right.
Boy.
Okay.
All right.
So let's do our XP questions, and then we'll do some closing plugs, and then we'll get on out of here. All right. So where did I put it? There it is. Okay. So we've got participate in the session. Yep. Confront any Vaesen. Not yet. Identify a previously unknown Vaesen, excuse me. Because of Anders, you all can go ahead and take this. I'm assuming that you probably would have told. Would you have told other folks, or would it have just been you and Yürgan? Actually, I should let you decide. I'm sorry.
I would think over the journey, I would eventually introduce everyone to Franklin.
Okay. Okay.
Very, very strict. Like, please do not harm
Raid.
Franklin. Hey,
Thank,
Diesel Shot.
thanks for the
Did-
raid, Diesel
Did it
Shot.
seem to get any worse after I smashed
Yes,
Franklin?
yes, it did.
Okay.
Yeah, it has gotten a bit worse. The dreams that you're having have getting increasingly worse. And Yürgan, as you look at his back, the kind of curving of his spine has gotten even worse. Anders, when you pop up and try to wake everyone up, you notice that you're having trouble standing up straight. You feel kind of twisted and contorted, almost hunchback-like. Yeah, so
I got to find out what makes this little bug happy and get him to stop being such a pain in my back.
So thanks for the raid, Diesel Shout. Unfortunately, we are kind of just winding down our session of Vaesen, and we're just doing our XP questions right now. But we're bailing pretty soon. So we'll say go ahead and take that your XP for that. Affected by the dark secret, Rubitega. I think you're good. It's probably it for now. Though I
I'm
think
not anticipating this so soon.
yeah. And then take risks to protect other people. I think Anders did the opposite and just threw Caius under the bus so hard. That was great.
That was good.
Yeah.
He fails forward and everything else. I was holding out.
So I think that's it. I don't think you guys, we didn't do any HQ development. We didn't have any extraordinary actions, but you do get your +1 from the Annals of Society that you built. So take your +1 for that as well.
Yeah, Jürgen brought pain to Anders. I also don't think that was XP worthy either.
Yeah.
It was
For science.
for science, yeah.
Science?
We've got some things going on. This is fun. All right. So let's go.
Do we get the extra one from our
Yes,
thing,
from the
or-
Annals.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, from the Annals of Society. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's do some close down plugs. Bert, where can they find your podcast?
Sure. You can find my podcast of Steam, Steal, and Murder at bluemagic.com, BLUMAGIK.
Perfect.
10 years worth of all kinds of podcasting, role-playing goodness.
Yeah. Are we doing anything this week on Notorious DMG?
Tuesday.
Well, we're doing Dungeons and Dragons first edition
Yeah.
tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night.
Yep.
Yeah. So Notorious DMG TV Twitch channel. You can find a couple of us there. Chuck, what the Defenders have?
Defenders this week. Of course, tomorrow night, Notorious DMG, First Ed D&D. Wednesday, Jeremy's going to be running us through some more spectaculars. And then Friday, we're kicking off a Mutant Year Zero campaign. It's going to be great. I'm prepping stuff for that. And then this coming Saturday, we're going to be back on Goodman Games official. We had a campaign shifting session, altering.
Yeah.
So I'm still kind of figuring out where we're picking up from there. So yeah, that's what DOK's got. We've got our 2 zines out right now. And then number 3 will be out here in 2 to 3 weeks, hopefully.
Hey, Christopher, how's it going? I'm not breaking character. I didn't say hello before because you yell at me when I break character when you come on this channel. Jeremy, podcast.
DLEWD, fun nerds talking about fun comic stuff.
Perfect. And then Melissa and I, Adventures in Lollygagging. We have our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/thelollygaggers. Playing on Thursdays. I'm not sure what we're doing on Thursday this week, but we're probably gonna be doing something. And we also play Mutant Year Zero, but we play it usually on Saturdays. We play Gen Lab Alpha, and then every other Monday when we're not on this wonderful Free League Publishing channel, we are playing Alien, our own little campaign, and that's at 9 Central. So next Monday we'll be there playing Alien, and then the week after that we'll be back with more Vaesen for part 2 of
Maybe we'll roll better.
A Tale of Two. I hope not. I mean, it took me a while to break into the code and make it so that player rolls were trash. So
We're
You
nerfed.
were
put a
successful.
lot of hard work into hacking the system, but there we go. But that's it for the night. Thank you to everybody who hung out and watched. Thank you for the raid. Diesel Shot is very nice of you. If you haven't checked out the Diesel Shots, their Alien campaign from a couple weeks ago, there's like a three part story. You should do it. It's still on Free League Publishing's VOD, so you can go ahead and check that out. Yeah, we'll be back in a couple weeks. So have a good night, everybody.
Bye.
Night, everybody.